I was watching old school Sidney Crosby highlights the other day, and I watched the video a bunch of years now where he went upstairs on Jose Theodore. Like I think it was his first goal against a Canadian team. And obviously, Sidney Crosby ended up idolizing the Canadiens, and I think that even if players get older, they still idolize certain franchises, guys, no matter what you say. Everybody's nostalgic, guys. Everybody is. And this guy went two fake leg kicks up, backhand, or the forehand to the backhand, top cheese. He had Jose Theodore just sitting there like, please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. Anyways, we're going to be talking about some really, really interesting Sidney Crosby comments from his agent and him. This stuff is juicy right here, but welcome back to Pixel Plus Hockey. If you can make sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that stuff helps the channel so much if you do enjoy the content, guys. So greatly appreciated and obviously very, very humbling in general. So I've been a little bit paused on the Sidney Crosby stuff. I didn't want to get into it too much because I kind of found it to be unrealistic. But listen, I've been an advocate of Sidney Crosby getting out of the hell out of Pittsburgh in a long time, okay? He is still an incredibly competitive player. I mean, he's my age. He's 38 years old, but this guy is unbelievable still. Like, I can hardly, do anything physically, but this guy is a specimen. So this would be he'd probably be the Habs' #1 center, in my opinion, maybe even ahead of Suzuki, but I might get some pushback on that, of course. But Sid the Kid had a very interesting interview that it perked my ears up, and here we have Reddit Habs, Sidney Crosby on the Habs in an interview with the Athletics' Pierre LeBrun. Quote, "I get it, trust me. Growing up in Montreal and being not too far away from there, I understand how passionate they are. I get it why they would come up and that sort of thing, speculation. It doesn't make it any easier when you're losing to hear those things. But at the same time, to know that a team like that wants you, it's not the end of the world. It could be worse." He smiled. Close quote. Okay, I think the nostalgia is still turning on Sid the Kid, okay? He clearly kind of likes hearing this, and I'm telling you right now, for a while there, I thought to myself, no, it's impossible. Like, Sid the Kid, like, not seeing him in a Pittsburgh jersey, it's going to be kind of weird. Like, I was against it. But honestly, if you were to go anywhere, honestly, the Montreal Canadiens actually might make a lot of sense. He idolized the team. The funny thing is, if you look at the new Canada jerseys, they kind of almost look like Hab jerseys, at least a little bit. So honestly, there's a connection right there. This man himself is Captain Canada, and he loves the Montreal Canadiens. And here we have an even more interesting quote. Sidney Crosby's agent confirms a trade is always possible. Here's the passage that I find most interesting. Quote, "So I asked Brisson again if it was a possibility that Crosby would one day consider a trade to Pittsburgh. Pierre LeBrun. I'm answering a question that, let's just say it's always a possibility, Brisson replied. Interesting. They haven't made the playoffs for 3 years. It all depends on Sid's situation and the team's performance. I stand by my position. I think Sidney Crosby should be in the playoffs every year, in my opinion. Pat Brisson, agent of Sidney Crosby," close quote. That is spicy. That's pretty spicy. And if his agent is saying this, that means Sidney Crosby is okay with that happening. A lot of players have an incredibly close relationship with their agents, right? They talk about all sorts of stuff. You don't think that they're not talking about the absolute frustration that Pittsburgh can't even get back in the playoffs? I mean, this is a team that every year not only made the playoffs, but was a cup contender. Let's look at the Montreal Canadiens right now. Nick Suzuki, Patrick Laine, Cole Caulfield, Ivan Demidov. Can you add Sidney Crosby, Lane Hudson, and oh, by the way, might I add, Noah Dobson to that? And a pretty good starting goalie as well, that, by the way, has shown that he's very, very reliable for the Montreal Canadiens. I would say that team might win the Atlantic. I know, I might get some pushback for that. I think that they would be above the Leafs for sure. I don't know if they'd be above Florida. There's still some pretty competitive teams there, but my gosh, my goodness, adding Sidney Crosby to that would be unbelievable. In my opinion, you never give up a chance to get an elite player like that. I do not care. Now, obviously, there would need to be some cap finagling, although the funny thing is about Sidney Crosby's contract, it's not even that bad. This is a guy that has been underpaid his entire NHL career. His entire NHL career, he's been underpaid. This guy's getting $8.7 million. He has lost out on millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. And you want to know why? It's because Sidney Crosby is obsessed with winning. You want to say a lot of other guys are obsessed with winning? Nobody. Maybe Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby. These elite guys will do anything to win. It does not matter. Let me make another point here. Anything that Sidney Crosby says to the Pittsburgh organization, they will fall in line. Sidney Crosby's voice in that organization holds so much weight. If he politely says, I want to go to this specific team, trust me, they respect that player enough to say, we'll figure it out and send you to that specific team. I'm telling you right now. Now, the question then becomes, well, what do the Montreal Canadiens have to give up? What do they have to give up? Do they have to give up, a first-round selection, top 10 protected? Nah, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'd do that. Maybe. They have 2 second-round selections. They hardly gave up anything trading Price. That's on the docket. You have some good prospects. You have David Reinbacher, Michael Hage. I don't know if I want to give up Hage, but again, you're still going to have to give Pittsburgh something. Now, here's the best thing about it, though. If you trade him to Pittsburgh and he only wants to go to the Habs, you kind of have Pittsburgh over the barrel. Because if they're losing again and he only wants to go to one team and they're losing again and the asset is probably going to walk in 1 or 2 years, and your legendary superstar that brought multiple cups to your franchise is saying, listen, I want to go there, you might not even have to actually give up that much. You might not actually have to even give up that much for Sidney Crosby. And honestly, knowing Kent Hughes and how good he is at negotiating, I'm telling you, man, I'm starting to actually believe. I stayed away from this on Pixel Plus Hockey for a while, just being like, I'm going to stay within reality here. We're going to talk about McTavish, who would be an excellent pickup for the Montreal Canadiens too. But I'm drinking the Kool-Aid here, guys. I'm drinking the Crosby Kool-Aid. I think that this is actually low-key kind of possible. And his comments are honestly pretty crazy, in my opinion. I don't know. Drop your comments below. Do you think this is actually possible? Do you think this is just a delusion of Pixel Plus Hockey? Do you think it's actually possible? What do you guys think about this? I'm going to be really interested to see the comments below. I think I'm going to end this video here. If you can make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this out. It helps the channel so much, guys, and I'm obviously so humbled by all the support that I have been getting. Thank you, guys, and have a great day. Goodbye, guys.